John in Omaha, Nebraska, listening on KVSS. John, you are on with Karlo Broussard.
Good evening, gentlemen. Thank you for taking my call. The other day, I have a son who is in college, and he was arguing with me that there is the justification for moral relativism, and that he didn't believe that there were any moral absolutes. And I was just searching for some information how to refute his discussion.
Sure. Well, if you're looking for some resources, John, just right off the bat, I would encourage a shameless plug here, which Cy was just introducing my talk, my audio CD, Your Truth, My Truth, along with the study guide. And in the study guide, I give you several ways that you can critique both intellectual relativism and moral relativism. And then there's also a great book out there, John, and the title of the book is Feet Firmly Planted in Mid-Air. It's Relativism, Feet Firmly Planted in Mid-Air by Francis Beckwith and Gregory Kokel. It's a great book it's an exhaustive treatment of relativism and teaching you how to respond to it in all its various different forms. But I think, John, fundamentally, what you have to do is try to share with your son examples that he would intuitively already acknowledge to be a moral absolute. So you could use the example of what Hitler did in Nazi Germany in exterminating the Jews. You could use the example of slavery. This is one way. You can appeal to his moral intuition and say, hey, look, John, you can say, look, son, if you really believe that moral truths and what is good, what is bad is only relative to what an individual happens to think, well, then we couldn't accuse Hitler of wrongdoing. We couldn't accuse our government of this previous slavery laws of wrongdoing. Fundamentally, if moral truth is not absolute but only relative, well, then we couldn't accuse anybody of any wrongdoing. Why? Because the individual would be the final arbiter of what is good and what is bad. So ultimately, John, you can show your son that moral relativism undermines morality completely. And that's something that's so absurd, I think even he will come to see that, well, I might be a moral relativist in my thinking, but in practice, I'm not a moral relativist. Because, John, you can just turn the tables on your son and say, well, okay, son, hypothetically, how would you feel if, I would lock you up and put you in a room and starve you to death, right? I mean, that's an absurd example, but fundamentally, if moral relativism were true and you perceive that to be correct and right for you, well, then you couldn't be accused of wrongdoing, right? So you want to take the logic of moral relativism and apply it to other examples where he'll intuitively acknowledge to be so absurd that he must give up moral relativism. So that's one way among many that you could go about critiquing it, by showing it undermines morality completely, making it impossible to accuse another of wrongdoing. What do you think of that, John?
That sounds good. I was trying to approach it from an intellectual aspect. He's in college, and he still attends Mass. He's a believer, but right. I'm trying to approach this intellectually rather than just trying to say, well, God said so, that's the reason why.
And John, I couldn't agree more. I think it's very important that we show them that this is something we don't need the Bible to know. Does the Bible give us absolute moral truths? Yes. Praise be Jesus Christ for that, because a lot of times we have a mixture of error. But these are things that we can come to know by the natural light of human reason. And once again, if you get the resources that I mentioned at the outset of our conversation, John, you'll see that there is a very, very strong intellectual basis for the objectivity of moral truth. So thanks for your call, John.